Hey everyone, Dan here, and it's time for another rewatch review. And today we're going to talk about Iron Man 2. That's right, the second film in the Iron Man franchise, and technically the third in the MCU from a release date point of view, but the fourth from a chronological view. So Hulk ends up jumping to behind it chronologically. Now, this is a film that returned John Favreau both as Happy Hogan and as the director. You've got Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, and Clark Gregg all reprising their roles. And then we've got a few new additions in this film. We, for the first time, got to meet Natasha Romanoff, played by the lovely Scarlett Johansson, who is a very major player in the MCU, of course. And also, we got to meet Tony's father, Howard Stark, but the older version played by John Slattery, as opposed to the younger one played by Dominic Cooper that we meet in Captain America: The First Avenger. Now, another big thing here is we got a change on the character of Jim Rhodes. We lose Terrence Howard and we get Don Cheadle. And we get introduced to him very quickly in the middle of a Senate hearing where he walks in and simply says, "It's me, get over it." And we do, because Don Cheadle is awesome. Now, we get two villains in this one, two, to go with Iron Man 2. The first being the very entertaining Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer, kind of the ineffectual version of Tony Stark, the wannabe Tony Stark. And then we also get Mickey Rourke and his bird as Anton Vankoff, the character of Whiplash. Now, I've got to admit here, there's two things about this movie that I did not realize for a very long time, and the first one has to do with Whiplash. I didn't like the character of Whiplash. I liked him all right in the orange jumpsuit with the metal thing and the whips, because to me that was the character, and in my mind it was closer to the comic book version. The problem is that I kept confusing Whiplash, who at times is called Blacklash or Backlash in the comics, with the other Iron Man character, Whirlwind. Now, why I got the two confused, I'm not really sure. They don't look anything alike, but I did. So, putting that aside now, because I just realized that the other day, comparing him to Whiplash, I do still like him better in the orange jumpsuit at the race than I do when they give him armor, because he's not supposed to be an armored character. But I like him a little better now when I'm not confusing him with Whirlwind. So, overall as a villain, I think having the personal connection to Howard is interesting. I don't know why Marvel makes it very important, or why it's so important to them that the characters have a personal connection. Why the villain has to be something personal. I don't know why, but they keep doing it. They finally broke that with the latest Spider-Man movie, and it made it personal to Tony Stark, who's not even alive anymore. Anyway, so that's what they do. Now, the one of the things I didn't like about the film, and it's kind of hard to put my finger on because I do like the film, but they try to cram a whole lot into it. Now, I love the fact that they brought in the briefcase armor. That's a neat thing from the comics. That's great. They didn't try to put the nose in. That would have been funny. But, we get the briefcase armor, we get the race, we get all the fun stuff. But they try to squeeze Demon in a Bottle into Iron Man 2. Now, they use it as a device to move him along, and they kind of replace alcoholism with his dependency on palladium to fuel his the arc reactor in his chest. Story-wise, it makes a lot of sense. But then we get the whole drunk scene, and then we get the fight with Rhodey, and that's how he gets the suit. And it gets it very complicated. But also, it takes away the importance of the Demon in the Bottle story. And if you're not familiar with it, that was a huge comic book arc in, like, I want to say it was like 120 something, like 128 of Iron Man, maybe 127, where Iron Man ends up giving up the suit because he's an alcoholic. And that's an important part of his character that we lose with this particular storyline. So, he's dependent on the palladium, but once he gets it replaced, he doesn't have that problem anymore. And that's not how alcoholism works. You don't just suddenly, you're no longer an alcoholic. You are always in recovery. You're always on the verge of slipping. So we lose that part of his character, which is kind of an important aspect of the character in the comics. So from that point of view, I kind of wish they wouldn't have done that. But I understand using it as a driving force for the story and to move things forward. So I'm kind of torn on that one. Now that brings us to the other thing I didn't realize in the film is that Tony gets that new, or he sees his dad's design for the new element. Well, that element is vibranium, which isn't a new element. It's an element that we didn't have in the U.S. other than enough to make Captain America's shield. So what Howard did was he saw the chemical makeup or what comprised the element and left that for Tony to figure out. But vibranium existed. It was just in Africa. So it's comes across like it's a new element, but it's not. It's just vibranium. Didn't realize that, but that makes this the first appearance of vibranium and not Captain America, the First Avenger. It's kind of funny, but interesting. Anyway, so it is neat how that ties together. Now, the movie is a lot of fun. It's very fast-paced. There's a lot of great action, and I really like that. And we get to see Black Widow in action. We get to see War Machine in action. We get the comedic beats with Justin Hammer and the ex-wife missile that doesn't work. It's a lot of neat little moments. But there's also a lot more character drama in this, and some of it is good, and some of it I thought was a bit much, and it slowed the film down a little bit. And Tony regressed a bit into his selfish ways that he had progressed out of by the end of the first Iron Man, then he kind of slipped back. And I mean, if you think about it, his whole driving force of this is the palladium is killing him. He never asks for help. He never confides in Pepper or anybody else. And he only survives because Nick Fury has Natasha watching him. And that's never addressed. They never bring that up in the movie. So his character regresses, and then by the end it's a happy ending, but we never get the resolution of that. We never get the character growth from there. It's just like, oh, I guess I did that, never mind. And he moves on, and then we get the Avenger teaser at the end. So I feel that there was a bit much on the character drama that was unnecessary, and it kind of slowed the movie down a little bit. And maybe it was stuff that Favreau was trying to set up for the third Iron Man film that he never got to pay off because he stepped away and Shane Black took over. That we don't know, and we'll probably never know. But overall, I really liked the movie, but not as much as the first one. The first one was just a much tighter, better written, better act, just hands down a better film. But that doesn't mean this is a bad film. This is a good film. It just, the first one was a little bit better. But together, they still make a great set. All right. That's it for Iron Man 2. Next, I'll be doing the Hulk, or the Incredible Hulk, and then the big one, the Avengers. So please subscribe to the channel, and you'll be notified when those come out. Can you hit the like button if you like this video? I'd appreciate it. Maybe share the link with some friends. I really could use your help spreading the word on this channel. So, hope you all have a good night. See you soon.